This video is sponsored by Squarespace. You may know Stoke-on-Trent as the home of the Great Pottery Throwdown, but there is another potter who works there that if you live outside of the UK, you may never have heard of. I'm talking about Emma Bridgewater. Emma Bridgewater is a whole ceramics manufacturing company that produces stunning wares using traditional slip casting and stamping. But I personally became infatuated when I saw this reel of them making a quilt mug. So in today's episode of Steal Like an Artist, I'm going to try and dissect and figure out their stamping technique so I can make my very own quilt-inspired mug. Before I get to stamping, I need to actually make the mugs. So Emma Bridgewater, they slip cast all of their wares, which is such a huge topic, and I'm actually a huge novice at that. I really don't know much about slip casting. So I'm not gonna do that, plus I don't have any molds. So I'm just gonna throw a mug, and I'm actually gonna throw two just in case I mess up the first one. And I think here, I'm gonna try to throw them the same size and as straight as possible, I think makes the most sense. So like a very classic, almost like industrially made mug. This is a dangerous game I'm playing with the scarf. Can you see how it's like, it's a little bit inward still? I just want to make that as straight as I can. I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna try and throw the second one to the same dimensions, 10.5 by 9.5. Like I want them to match just because matching is nice, but it's also like you make the stamp to a certain width so that you get squares that fit all the way around, right? So I need them to be similar so that I don't end up with like half a square. And I'm gonna make the stamps to the sizes of the mug. Happy with that. This one, the rim, because I trimmed the rim on this one, is just a touch more square than this one. This has a more natural rim. I can tweak that when it's leather hard. Like, we can get them to match. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can do today. I need to let these dry, and then tomorrow I can trim and handle, then eventually get to the stamping. In the meantime, I want to come up with an idea for like how I want to stamp these, because I don't want to exactly copy their pattern. I want to do something a little bit my own. Lots of decisions to make. Okay, our mugs are finished, or well, they're bisqued. That means we can get to stamping. So for the stamp, I did a little bit of research for the stamps. I bought 3 different types of foam. So there's not that much information on the internet about like what type of foam that you should use for this. I scoured the Emma Bridgewater Instagram and they don't give away that information. That's proprietary. But a lovely person wrote into my DMs, which I'm sorry, I tried to find you so I could give you a shout out. I could not find this DM anymore, but someone told me that upholstery foam in the densest variety is what you want to use for this. So that's what I bought. I actually bought 3 different types of foam, and this was just from some like online upholstery supplier. And I wanted to buy 3 so I could test them out and so I could give you guys a good idea of like what to buy if you want to replicate this project. Obviously, I've got foam for days. So basically, I just got like different levels of squishiness. It's kind of hard to tell. This is the densest, I believe. This is slightly less dense, and then this is like a just completely different material. And I don't know how making stamps out of this is gonna work because it's made up of all these different chunks of foam. I think I'm gonna make some practice stamps and then we can see which foam to work with. And then I'm gonna make the real stamps and we can try it on the mugs. I did make a few drawings to try and figure out like what sort of pattern I want to make. So basically what we need is 4 different stamps. This is, don't look at it here. This is like, this down here is like the pattern I'm trying to replicate. Let's see. Let's take a little break to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you've never heard about Squarespace before, they're an all-in-one website that artists and entrepreneurs use to stand out online. I've personally been using them ever since I started my online business, and I'm still using them for my website today. There are a few things that I love about Squarespace, one of which is their memberships, which I use to host our very own template club, but you can also use to create community, host courses, and other premium content. 2, they just launched this really cool feature called Design Intelligence that empowers anyone to build a beautiful, bespoke website tailored to your unique needs. And 3, once you have your online store set up, you have access to Squarespace Payments, which is super easy to set up and gives your customers more ways to pay with popular payment methods like Klarna, Direct Debit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay. So if you're ready to take selling your pottery to the next level, or you're just looking for an online home for your art, I really recommend Squarespace because they make creating a beautiful website really easy. So head to squarespace.com right now for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/potterytothepeople for 10% off your very first website or domain. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, each square is going to be 2.2 centimeters. At least on this one, I can't be bothered to map out the other one. It's going to be fine. I have low hopes for this one. I don't think this is the right material. It's already crumbling. Okay. Thinking, I'm just gonna draw it on here. Let me see how it goes. No idea what I'm doing. So now I have to take out these bits and I have no idea. I'm just gonna try with the scissors. I don't know. These are pretty sharp scissors. So I feel like it might work. And then how deep do I need to take it away is another question I have. It's not the easiest stuff to work with. So maybe that will work. Ooh. I think this is what we wanted. It's like 2 centimeters deepish. Probably want a little deeper, huh? This is the correct tool. How exciting. Okay, I removed a good amount now. before I do these other ones, I'm going to test it. I realized last week I didn't have very much underglaze left. Like I'm missing some like standard colors. And I put in an order for more, but it hasn't arrived yet. So we're gonna be working with like a strange color palette, I'm thinking. But that's fine, because that just means we're going to have to come up with some creative solutions. Also, I'm sure it matters like what consistency to make our underglaze, but I have no idea. Maybe a little more water, huh? I feel like in the video it was quite loose. And I'm also wondering, should I make my stamp wet? Somehow that feels right to me. It's not quite as pretty as theirs. I suppose I shouldn't have expected it to be easy. I'll try it on these because I can just wash them off. Ooh, that looks pretty terrible. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten it wet. So my underglaze is kind of chunky. I feel like I need to just really saturate this stamp. My underglaze is being all chonky. Maybe it's just this one, hopefully. That's okay. That's looking better. Oh man. You guys sometimes get mad at me for insulting my own work, but like, seriously? It's not good. It's not ideal. And that was a fairly easy shape. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's try the other foams. Whatever that's called. And then we can decide. I bet you laser cut these foam pieces. That would be wise. Because I know you can laser cut through foam. I know it makes a lot of fumes, but like if you have proper ventilation, which I'm sure they do, that's definitely what they do. Because they got some really complex stamps. But even if they laser cut, like, damn. I think I'm just gonna rule this one out simply because it's obnoxious. Okay, let's try them. Also, what makes me think they really saturate these is because they do multiple stamps with one dip. Like, you see that texture, that's not what I want, which makes me think this needs to be slightly watered down. I feel like minus the chunk, that is what we want. I can always sand off the chunk, I suppose. I feel like that's pretty good. Let's try this wild card one. Just watch, this is gonna be the best one. Honestly, I feel like they're all kind of the same. I don't know if the foam matters that much. This is definitely the best imprint, but is that just because I was unpracticed? I feel like these two are pretty much the same. I honestly can't even feel a difference in density, so I don't know. I don't know why they sell these different. I think the thing that matters the most is just really saturating the stamp with the underglaze, because what I'm trying to avoid are these little, I guess it's trapped air, where there's like little bits where the stamp doesn't reach. And you know what? I could go back in and just paint them. I could just cheat a little, and I might do that on my actual mugs. Like, look, that's fine. I think this whole thing would be way easier if I just painted on this pattern, but on an industrial scale, like they do at Emma Bridgewater, of course stamps make sense. I just want to try out this technique, and it's definitely not practical, but let's make the rest of the stamps and stamp our mugs. How about that? There's no way they're not using laser cutters to cut out these stamps, which is the clever thing to do for sure. And just because these pieces are slip cast and like the stamps themselves are laser cut doesn't mean that these pieces aren't still handmade, in my humble opinion, but also very strong opinion. You know, people a lot on using tools somehow, as if things that are made with hands on clay are somehow more authentic. And in a sense, I feel similarly about like 3D printed work. But the thing about slip casting is that it is really freaking hard. And people on the internet, I talked about this in my recent Q&A as well. People on the internet talk such trash about slip casting, and it's exactly the people on the internet who have never tried slip casting before and don't know anything about it. It's really, really hard. I would argue like just as hard as wheel throwing. And why not use a laser cutter to cut out the designs? Because they're still handled by hand. Like also with slip casting, it's still handled. I would still consider it handmade because it is still handled by human hands and by skilled human hands. It's not like anyone can just pour the slip in and, expect a perfect result. Hell to the no. Like it's so much harder than that. It's a skill. And, same with stamping, like my God, I'm learning like, holy cow, how difficult it is to actually just like stamp something with underglaze. So even if these stamps are laser cut, which I don't know, but I suspect, I'm still impressed with them. And you will see what it looks like when an amateur tries to attempt that work. I mean, I'm not a pottery amateur, but I'm an amateur at like their specific version of the craft, right? So I hope that gives you a little bit more perspective. I mean, I know you guys watching me are very kind and not looking down upon slipcasters and people who use tools in their pottery, but there's lots of people who do. I'm trying to make this a square. It is, somehow that was more squarey than this one. How did I mess that up? Well, my stamps are made. Shall we give it a shot? I don't know. We want this to be colorful, right? So no black. What about green, purple, orange? I don't have a sample for this one either, but this is like, I think it's supposed to be like a soft brown. I'm hesitant to use blue because it's so similar to purple. We need contrast. I really wish we had red. I'm annoyed with my color options. I suppose we could mix it up, do different colors for each mug. For the first one, I'm gonna do these colors. I feel like I should start in the middle. Wait, this is off. This is off, 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 off. Okay, I'm gonna start on the top because I feel like these three are not even. This feels like so scary and final, but honestly, like, I can probably wipe off anything that goes wrong, can't I? That one's not bad. I think I already started by putting them too low. And it's a little messed up. That's part of the charm, right? Right? Okay, we should do the bottom one so we can evenly space the middle one later. This technique does use an ungodly amount of underglaze. I mean, from far away, it looks good, I guess. I think as it gets more saturated, it gets sloppier. These are getting messy. I feel like from this angle, it looks fine because you're far away. But let me patch my sins here. Also, typically you're supposed to put multiple layers of underglaze, so I don't know how this is gonna look. Maybe it's thicker because it is stamped. I don't know, it looks pretty sloppy to me. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I feel like this is gonna really make it look like a quilt now. Actually, this overly watered down underglaze might be the way to go. That looks tidy. This is fun. Well, that very very quickly got less stressful once I realized the imperfection is part of the charm of it. I'm quite happy with that. I think I'm gonna try and revive this yellow. See if we can get anything out of this. Because I'm not feeling these colors, I'm really not. But we got one more mug, so we can try out some other things. Ta-da! I think they look super cute. And I don't mind that they're a little bit wonky because, you know, then they just look handmade. Like, of course you could make this exact pattern with a decal, but that's not as cool as when you do it handmade with stamps. So I'm not just saying this to make myself feel better about the wonkiness. I actually do think it's pretty beautiful. I'm not like super convinced on the colors I chose. I wish these little dots were red, like they're gonna be brown. And on this one, there's a little bit of a unfortunate gap here. Like, do you see how this one comes much closer to the handle? It's fine, it's fine. So all I have left to do is put these in a transparent glaze and then I'm gonna fire them and I'll get back to you with the results. So they're done. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about them. They're definitely more rustical than I envisioned or planned and than the originals are. I think my issue is that I can't separate what I expected them to look like from what they actually are. Like I need to like readjust my brain to like see these as they are because I don't hate them. I really don't. I especially like this one. I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I think the colors are a bit too intense on this one. Something with the yellow. The yellow's like a little bit too neon for my taste, but this one feels fairly balanced. The colors are off though, and I don't know if I did something wrong or possibly my underglazes are just really old because they are like 5 years old. Because this is supposed to be purple. This part that clearly looks blue was supposed to be purple. I'm really not sure how I feel about these, so I think I'm gonna throw this one to you guys because, like, please be honest, you know, let me know how you feel about it because I'm not sure, because typically with handmade ceramics, I kind of like that it looks handmade. So I don't wanna say I hate that it's not perfect because that can also be really, really beautiful. Like, what's the point of making handmade pottery? You don't want it to look machine made. But I don't know if this is like a little bit going too far, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this pot upstairs. I don't think I like this one. Also, the brown doesn't look very nice. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this cup upstairs and I'm going to drink out of it for a few days and then like my brain will tell me if I like it or not because I'm just not sure how I feel about it right now. I need to readjust my mind to accepting that this is how it looks and not like the vision that I had in my head. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This was a fun one. I say this with almost every video, but I think I want to try it again with like underglaze colors that I actually like. And maybe learning how to make the stamps is just like practice, you know? I hope that this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much to Emma Bridgewater for inspiring us with your beautiful work. I'm going to leave all the information for that ceramic company down below in the description so you can check them out and buy their stuff. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.